Hey boys and girls, today we are in our module 1 through 9 book and we are on page 83. This is lesson 3 of module 4. So we are evaluating numerical expressions. So that word evaluate just means solve, figure it out. So we are going to be solving these using the order of operations. We've talked about the order of operations a little bit, and I have a guide for you on Canvas that you can look at. And we can write what we think about when we do this right up here at the top. Okay, so maybe I should use a different marker. We think of, or I remember it, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. You could think of anything else you want to do. Now, I mark out the E because that's something we don't have to worry about right now. Those are exponents. We've talked about exponents. Exponents are like this tiny little number right here is an exponent. So it means 10 to the second power, or 10 2 times. 10 times 10 is 100. But that's not something that we're required to know in 5th grade, so you won't see those in these problems. But I think it's important for us to know what it is. So the P is parentheses, and I would suggest you guys write this stuff down. Parentheses. I know you can't see it as good, and spelling is not a big deal for this. Okay, now multiplication and division, circle them together because we do them, I'm going to just put multiply and divide, from left to right. Just like we read, just like we normally solve problems left to right. So what that means is, if division is first, that's okay. You do multiplication and division from left to right. So if we solve the problem 20 divided by 5 times 4, because we do these together, we would say 20 divided by 5 and then multiply that by 4. So don't feel like because the M is first, we have to do it first. We do those from left to right. Same thing with adding and subtracting. Circle those. Add, subtract. We do those from left to right. But one thing we do know is if we see multiplication and division, we're going to do that before we add or subtract. But the first thing, if we see parentheses, we do that no matter what's inside of it. Adding, subtracting, dividing, it doesn't matter. Parentheses are always first. Multiplication and division is next, but we just do it in whatever order it's in. Then adding and subtracting would be last. Alright, so let's look at our first problem. It says, Mr. North's music club writes a song together. Each verse of the song has 6 lines, and each chorus has 2 lines. So the verse has 6 and the chorus has 2. If the song has 4 verses, so the whole song has 4 verses and choruses, how many lines does the song have in all? So it says draw a visual model to show the problem, explain your reasoning. So I like to reread and just kind of think about what it said. Okay, they write a song. Each verse has 6 lines. Each chorus has 2 lines. So think about what this even means. If you're singing a song, the verse is different. Remember, like a chorus of a song is the part that you sing over and over again. Like you might sing a little different here, but then the chorus is the same. And then you might go to another verse, but then you go back to that same chorus. And if the song has 4 verses and choruses, so each song has 4 verses and 4 choruses. many lines does the song have in all? Alright, so I think about different expressions I could write. I know that each verse has 6 lines, each chorus has 2. And I know that if the song has 4 verses and choruses, how many lines? So if each verse is 6 and each chorus is 2 and the song has 4 verses and choruses, how many lines? I'm going to multiply that by 4. So I know that there's 8 lines in the verse and the chorus, and then I'm doing that 4 times, so that gives me 32. That's not the only way you could have written that expression. You could have written 2 plus 6 times 4, 4 times 6 plus 2. But what's important is that you do put these in parentheses, because if you don't, and I look at this, if I'm following the order of operations and there were no parentheses, oops. So let me rewrite this without parentheses. My first one where I added 6 plus 2 and got 8 and then multiplied by 4, because my parentheses told me to do that first. If I forget those parentheses and I look and I follow the order of operations, technically I should do this first. 2 times 4 is 8, and 8 plus 6 is 14. Do you see how that gives me a very different answer? So I don't want to do that because this is correct. So we put parentheses around things that need to be first and need to be separate, because we don't want them mixing with something else. I know that each verse had 6 and each chorus had 2, so I was going to keep that apart. And then however many songs, I would figure out my total lines. Alright, let's look at the back. A club is making a music video. A group of 12 singers performs the first verse. So 12 singers do the first verse. 3 different groups of 6 singers perform the other 3. So a group of 12. So 12 of them do the first. I'm just going to write down what okay. I lost my video for a minute. So I was writing here 12 are in the first group. Then it says 3 different groups of 6 singers. So 3 groups of 6 singers. 6, 12, 18. 3 groups of 6. I know that's 18. They sing 3 of the verses. How many singers are in this music video? So in this case, they're just asking how many singers is that? And it tells you you had 12 in your first group plus your 3 groups of 6. So see how they wrote that? How many singers are in the music video? So first it says which operations are modeled here? Okay, we see adding and multiplying. When you evaluate or solve the numerical expression, which operation should be done first? How do you know? So, and here's a good explanation of order of operations like we just said. Parentheses, multiply, divide, left to right, add, subtract, left to right. So first we know we're going to multiply because that's in the order of operations. We wouldn't say 12 plus 3 is 15 and 15 times 6. That's going to give us way more than what we have. We had 3 groups of 6. So that gave us our 18. Then we add the 12. So the order of operation tells us to multiply first, but it also makes sense. Don't we say that all the time? So we're not just going to memorize this rule, it also makes sense to multiply first. Describe how to evaluate this. First, and I'm kind of writing quick, first we're going to say 3 times 6. Then add our 12 plus our 18. And that would give me 30. So let me show you right here how I like to do this. I'm a little picky about how I want you guys to write your stuff. So we have 12 plus 3 times 6. First, we multiply. So I rewrite 12 plus 3 times 6 is 18. Then 12 plus 18 is 30. See how we kind of make a triangle and it gets smaller as we go? And I mark out what I saw. 12 plus 3 times 6. Okay, 3 times 6 is 18. 12 plus 18 is 30. Then I don't accidentally leave something because we are going to solve some pretty long ones. So if you'll get into a habit of writing it out, marking out what you've done as you go through, it's going to be a lot easier to make sure you've answered all the parts. So we know the answer is 30. Evaluate it and explain what your answer means. It means there are 30 singers. How many singers? 30. To ask you over and over again makes you feel like you're crazy. All right, let's look at the next page. The club members spend 4 hours rehearsing and 2 hours filming. So they do 4 hours rehearsing and 2 hours filming a music video for 3 Saturdays. The numerical expression 4 plus 2 times 3 can be used. Rewrite this using repeated addition, then evaluate. Okay. So repeated addition would mean we're not using this times 3. If we know that they do 4 hours rehearsing and 2 filming every Saturday, we could say that's the same as 4 plus 2, 4 plus 2, and 4 plus 2. Because I did that every Saturday. This Saturday, next Saturday, the next Saturday. Rewrite it using the distributive property. Then evaluate. So another way you could do that, so the distributive property would mean I've got, well, here it is right here. I could say 4 times 3, 4 times my 3, and 2 times my 3. Now that might be a way that you think, I don't like that, and that's okay. But distributive means I'm distributing this 3 to both things. I'm just doing it separately instead of at the same time. So let's use the order of operations to evaluate this. So I'm going to write this over here. All right. And I'm going to look and I see parentheses, so I know I do that first. And I know 4 plus 2 is 6. I'm going to mark it out. And then I'm left 6 times 3. I know that's 18, and that's my answer. So they spend 18 hours. Wow. Okay. Let's look here and see what mistakes Irvin makes. And I'm going to rewrite his problem. It says Irvin evaluates 12 divided by 2 plus 4 plus 6 times 3. Squeeze it in there. By first dividing 12 divided by 2 and then multiplying 6 times 3. Then he adds from left to right. Explain his errors. All right. Well, it says the first thing he does is divide 12 divided by 2. Should he have done that? No. First, he should do what? Add the 2 plus 4. So let's do that over here. Mark it out. 12 divided by, we know 2 plus 4 is 6. Plus 6 times 3. See how we're writing it back out? Then, what should he do next? I see dividing, adding, and multiplying. What did we say we're supposed to do? Parentheses, we did them. Then we multiply and divide from left to right. So the first one I see is dividing. So I'm going to do that next. So I'm going to write then divide. 12 divided by 6 is 2 plus 6 times 3. Okay. Should I add next or multiply? We should multiply. 2 plus 6 times 3 is 18. And then that would give me the answer of 20. See how we did one part each time? It keeps it really neat and helps us to get our correct answer. So I'm writing kind of sloppy and quick, but he should have added, then divided, then multiplied, then added. All right, let's evaluate these two and then we'll be done with this part. What should I do first? Parentheses, 15 minus 7. So I'm going to rewrite what's left 4 times 15 minus 7. Okay, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8 plus 8. You're going to not want to do this, but I really, really want you to rewrite everything that's left and the new number. A lot of my students try to like write it up here and do it in their head. Please don't. Please just show your work. It'll help you, I promise. So next we have multiplying or adding. So we know we should multiply, and we know that 4 times 8 is 32. So now we're left with 32 plus 8, which we know is 40. And the last one we're going to do together, we see 12 times 12 plus 7 times 8 plus 5. Shoo! There are no parentheses, so I'm going to multiply or divide from left to right. So the first place I see multiplying is here, so I'm going to mark that out. And I know that 12 times 12 is 144 plus 7 times 8 plus 5. Rewrite what's left. So now what should I do? I have adding, multiplying, and adding. I know I should multiply, so rewrite what's left. 144 plus 7 times 8 I know is 56 plus 5. And now I can just add. I'm going to do mine over here. 144 plus 56. That gives me an even 200. And 200 plus 5, right over here, is 205. So I want you guys to show your work and be really careful as you're solving these problems.